building a strong foundation, and physical alignment. And just really, I'm going to try to help you understand what power yoga is all about. So power yoga is a little bit more of a vigorous style of yoga as opposed to, say, a gentle or restorative class. But with that being said, I'm still going to teach you beginner postures. Make sure that you take care of your body today and that you rest when you need. Let's go ahead and begin. Come to a comfortable seated position. So you can cross your ankles like this, or if you choose, you can sit on your heels, if that's comfortable for you. Really just anything that's cozy. Take a moment to get comfortable, and then take your hands and just rest them on your knees or on your thighs, and close your eyes. Close your eyes and just take this moment to get still. Take this moment to let go of anything and everything that might be spinning around in your head. Maybe any anxiety or expectation. Just begin to let all that go. It's really important in yoga, in any style of yoga, just to let yourself get clear before you start to move, to start to breathe deeply, and just to take a quiet moment to check in with yourself. Begin to feel your breath. So we're breathing all day, every day. It just kind of happens on its own. But here on our yoga mats, we get this opportunity to control it a little bit and to deepen it and to just become aware of it. So let's start to control the breath. Take a very deep breath in. And then exhale, let it out. We'll do 2 more just like that. Take a big breath in. And a breath out. A breath in. And a breath out. Then go ahead and open your eyes, and we'll start with our first posture, child's pose. So, for child's pose, come to your hands and to your knees. So you're on all fours. And then bring your knees nice and wide towards the outside edges of your yoga mat. Bring your big toes to touch, and then just let your hips fall towards your heels. Now, they may touch your heels, they may not. You just get as comfortable as you can in this pose, and know that it's totally okay for your hips not to touch your heels. Go ahead and come to your forearms, and if it's comfortable for you, you can reach your arms all the way forward, and then just bow your forehead down onto the yoga mat. Take a few breaths here. Just feel the stretch through your hips. Reach your arms forward a little bit. We begin every power yoga class with this pose because it really just helps us to get centered, and it's the position of a bow. So just start to surrender your thoughts. Keep coming into your breathing. Just begin to slow down from your day and enjoy the stretch through your hips. And we will take moments to rest in child's pose today through our flow. And if any time you need to rest, this is a great posture to come to. So know that this posture is kind of like your home base, and you can come here anytime at all. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And then slowly from here, we'll come forward into tabletop position. So tabletop position is basically on all fours. So you'll stack your shoulders right above your elbows and your wrists. It's really important to align the joints and spread your fingers wide. So it's important to build a strong foundation. And the foundation is really where your hands or your feet touch the mat. Press through each and every finger. So the finger pads, that area right underneath the fingernails, we're going to press that down almost like we're going to claw the floor with our hands. Bring your hands wide enough so that you've got some space. So they're almost towards the outer edges of your mat when your fingers are spread wide. And then press down through the pads of the fingers, almost like you're clawing the floor, like you're holding the ground with your hands. Now from here, stack your hips directly above your knees and curl your toes underneath you. Squeeze the stomach muscles in. Look a little bit forward. We'll take a couple cat-cow breaths here. So as you inhale, you kind of tilt your pelvis up, arching your back, and then look up towards the ceiling, and this is cow pose. And then we'll exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the middle of your back, let your head and your neck just fall, and this is cat, because you're rounding your back like an angry cat. And then we'll inhale the breath as you move, looking up and lengthening. And then exhale, tilt the tailbone, round the spine, let your head and neck fall. Let's do one more with the breath. Inhale. And exhale. And then go ahead from here and just come to a neutral spine. We're going to move into our downward facing dog. This is a posture that we're going to come to a lot. So it's important to get it right and to get the proper alignment, setting a strong foundation for our practice. So we keep the hands just rooted where we are, nice and wide with the fingers spread wide. Pull your knees back just like 2 inches. And then with toes curled, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. And from here, it's important to bring the feet about hip width distance apart. Press your heels down towards the mat. Now, if you're a little bit tighter in your back, bend your knees just a little bit so that you can have a long back as opposed to a rounded spine. So we keep the back nice and long. Take a look at your hands again. A lot of times what happens is that knuckle right underneath your pointer finger, your first finger comes up off the mat. So press down through the knuckle of the first finger. That inner portion of your hand presses down. That's going to save your wrists in your downward facing dog. And you can just let your head and neck be comfortable. Pull your stomach muscles in just a little bit so that you can activate your core strength. And keep pressing heels down towards the mat. And this is your down dog. We'll refine this as we progress through class and as we progress through the series. Take a deep breath in here. And then exhale, let your breath go. And then from here, go ahead and walk yourself forward to the top of your mat. So just take as many steps as it takes. You can come off of your hands. Bring your feet to the width of your hips. And then make 2 soft fists. And then rest your fists in your opposite elbow crease for ragdoll, so your arms are kind of intertwined like a pretzel, and then just hang over your body. Now, it's okay if you're not feeling flexible right now. We do yoga to become more flexible. So it takes time, it takes practice, and it takes patience. Just accept yourself where you are and know that you're doing everything that you need to do to open up. Let your upper body just hang and dangle. Let any tension dissolve from your head, from your neck. Let your head just hang like a grape hangs on a stem. Feel a heaviness in your feet. And feel free, if it feels good, just to kind of sway right, sway left. You can have bent knees in this posture. That will help your lower back to loosen up. So you bend your knees as much as you need to feel good. Go ahead from here and release your arms down. Just let them hang, let them dangle. And then with bent knees, roll your spine up. So you feel the rounding in your spine as you roll. Let your head be heavy, heavy, heavy as you roll all the way up to standing. And then when you arrive at the top, we'll keep our feet apart today. Okay, there's a lot of different styles of yoga. Some will have feet together, but since this is a beginner class, we're going to keep the feet right underneath our hips as we practice. It's going to give you a little bit more freedom. So root down through all 4 corners of the feet. You picture your foot as a rectangle. Press down through the mound of the big toe, so that area, that bone right underneath the big toe, and the mound of the pinky toe. And then the inner heel, as well as the outer heel, presses down. For a moment, just kind of weight shift forward, and then weight shift back, weight shift forward, and weight shift back. And then just be sure now that you're settling on all 4 corners of your feet. Let's take mountain pose Tadasana. So we're starting now our Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskar. It's a salute to the sun that's in nature, and to the light that's within us. As you inhale your breath, reach your arms up and over your head for your mountain pose. Just stretch up like you're going to touch the sky or the ceiling, whatever's above you. Now, as you stretch and reach through your arms, press down through your feet at the same time. So fingers are spread wide, but we don't want to kind of overdo it or get tense through the wrists. Stretch up, but keep your shoulders relaxed. Squeeze your stomach in a little bit and really press down through the feet. One thing to note about the feet is to make sure that your toes are pointing directly forward. We don't have the toes pointing out or in. We've got train tracks almost with our feet. Stretch up, inhale, reach. This is mountain pose, Tadasana. Stretch up and reach. And then we'll bow forward. So bring your palms to touch and bow all the way down. Bringing your hands to the floor or towards the floor. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're in the deepest stretch that you can be in. Feel free here to bend your knees, okay? Eventually, we'll want to straighten them to get a deep stretch through the hamstrings, but at first, bend the knees and just let your head and neck dangle. So we're extending the very top of yourself, the crown of your head straight down towards the floor and lifting your hips up. And if your hands don't touch the floor, feel free to bring them to your shins too. And press the hands into the shins and forward fold until they start to come towards the floor. And then let each exhale breath take you deeper. Let's start to really find the breath. So we'll inhale through the nose, and we'll exhale through the nose. And that's called Ujjayi breath. It's a victorious breath. From here, we're going to come into halfway lift. So hands can come to shins for halfway lift. We're going to start with this variation. So you bring the hands to the shins and let your back get flat like a table. Pull your chin a little bit away from your chest. So we're not going to look way forward, but we're also not going to look down. But we'll look just a little bit, perhaps in front of your yoga mat onto the floor. So we're losing the rounding in the spine and really coming to what looks flat on the outside. Pull the stomach muscles in, press your hands into your shins a little bit, and just let your back get as long as it possibly can. Feel length. Inhale your breath here in halfway lift, and then as you exhale your breath, we're gonna come to plank pose. So we'll bring the hands to the mat and step one foot back and then the other, just like you're about to do a push-up. Really important here to keep your fingers spread wide, just like we did in downward facing dog, to claw the mat with your hands. We're gonna start our planks just by dropping the knees down to the mat. From here, we're gonna go into a posture that's called Chaturanga. I'm gonna demonstrate it for you first. So go ahead and watch this demonstration before we do it, because this is a posture that really requires proper alignment for safety. So for your Chaturanga, and we're taking a modified version today as we progress in the series, we'll start to take the full version. For now, hinge forward a little bit in your plank, curl the toes under, and then we'll bend the elbows. Now you can just bend them a little bit like this, or you can bend them a lot until you make a right angle with your arms. If you do that, just make sure that your shoulders don't go down below your elbows like this, because that can put a little bit too much strain on your shoulder girdle. So really, really important to get that right angle, and it's okay to be above the 90 degrees, okay? We just don't wanna go below it. From here, we bend the elbows, and that's Chaturanga. And then as you inhale the breath, we're gonna point the toes and straighten the arms and come into a high cobra. And then from there, we'll come right back to downward facing dog. Okay, so that's a modified Chaturanga. Let's do it together. So go ahead and come back to your mat. And from here, we'll pick up where we left off in halfway lift. So you're in halfway lift, and you can take your hands to your shins and take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale the breath, we'll take hands to the yoga mat, step back like you're gonna do a push-up, and then from there, just drop your knees down to the mat. And we'll bend our elbows for Chaturanga. So you can bend a little bit or you can bend a lot. Keep your shoulders back. And then we'll inhale, point your toes, straighten your arms, and lift your chest. And you can just look forward. So now that we're in our cobra pose, it's important to pull the shoulders back. We don't want to have them rounded forward like this, but we want to keep them pulled back. Look up just a little bit. Now, press down through the inside of your hand because most likely your weight is coming to the outside. So keep pressing down. Press down also through every single toe. Lift your chest and inhale. And exhale, downward dog. So you can kind of press back to the knees, curl the toes, and lift your hips high. Okay, we just made it through our Sun Salutation A. So now we're gonna do it with our breath. So in Vinyasa and Power Yoga, we flow with our breath. It's almost like we're dancing with our breath. So do your best today just to breathe as deeply as you can as you move, and know that that's gonna get easier the more that you practice it. So let's take a breath in together, and then exhale through the nose. And then look forward and step your feet to the top of your mat. We'll bring our feet hip-width distance apart. Inhale to halfway lift, so we'll take hands to shins and lift the chest. And we'll exhale to forward fold. Just bow over your legs, let your head fall. We'll inhale to mountain pose, so stand tall, lift, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale your breath, forward fold, so hands will come through the heart, bow all the way down, feel the stretch. We'll inhale to halfway lift, so big inhale, lift. And then as you exhale, bring your hands to the mat, spread your fingers wide, step one foot back and then the other. Drop your knees to the mat, Chaturanga, bend the elbows, squeeze them in, and then straighten your arms, point your toes, inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. And we just flowed through our Surya Namaskar or Sun Salutation A. Let's flow one more time. And this is what I mean when I said that this practice was a little bit more vigorous. We move a lot in power yoga. So you can go as slow as you need to go. Just try not to go too fast and make sure that you're calm in the midst of movement. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Look forward, bring your feet to your hands, hip width distance apart, toes point forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain, just stand up, reach your arms over your head. Exhale, forward fold, come right back down. Halfway lift again, hands to shins. Exhale, Chaturanga. So that's your high to low push-up. So you step back, drop your knees, bend the elbows, and make sure the shoulders don't dip below the elbows at all. And then inhale to Cobra. Point your toes, straighten your arms, lift your chest. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your hips high. Take some deep, full breaths. In and out. In and out. One more time. Look forward, bring your feet to your hands. Hip width distance, toes point forward. Halfway lift, hands to shins, look a little bit forward. Forward fold, bowing down again. Notice that your body's getting warmer. Now stand tall as you inhale. Reach up and exhale, forward fold. Take it all the way down and bow. Halfway lift, hands to shins, look a little forward. Exhale, Chaturanga. That's your high to low push-up. Knees come down, bend your elbows a little bit, and straighten your arms, point your toes, lift your heart up, and downward facing dog again. Hips come high. Take a child's pose. Bring your knees wide. So you drop your knees first, and then bring your knees wide towards the outer edges of your mat. Lower your hips to your heels. Reach your arms forward and take a rest. Take a rest and just get still. So we move a lot in power yoga, and we do that so that we can create heat, so that we can almost find a meditation while we move. It's okay if you didn't feel super calm while you were moving today. The more you come to know your flow and your sun salutations, the calmer you're going to feel while you do it. So just trust you're exactly where you need to be. Let your body rest. Notice the warmth and the heat that you've built already. And let's slowly come forward to tabletop, all fours, and to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Look forward, bring your feet to your hands. So you're starting to see the patterns now, I'm sure. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. And exhale, forward fold, bow over your legs. Now this time, we're gonna move into chair pose or Utkatasana. So toe heel your feet together so they're side by side. But make sure that you can ground down through the inside of your foot too. So it's okay to have a small little sliver of space in between the feet. Drop your butt back like you're gonna sit on a little chair. And then reach your upper body and your arms to the ceiling. This is your chair pose, it's your Utkatasana. And it can be a challenging pose to hold for a long period of time. But when you hold this posture, you build heat and you build strength. So the body's in the shape of a lightning bolt here. So start to connect to that shape. Feel that shape. Start to connect to the power of a thunderbolt. Begin to sit your hips back a little bit more, and then just stretch up really tall, lengthening from your waist all the way through to your fingers. So even though we're sitting, we're also reaching. Now just breathe into whatever you feel and do the best that you can to stay calm, even though you're in a posture that's a little bit challenging perhaps for your body. Take a deep breath in, reach up, and then as you exhale your breath, forward fold. So you can straighten your legs, and then fold all the way down. And your forward fold with your feet together is gonna feel a little bit different. You might feel some different sensations. Just breathe into it. And what I mean by breathe into it is just feel the sensations and take a deep breath and start to let the tension dissolve. Inhale from here, we'll take a halfway lift with feet together. It will require a little bit more balance, so lengthen out. And then exhale, bring your hands to the mat. We're gonna do another one of those push-ups. So step back for your Chaturanga. Hinge forward a little, drop your knees to the mat, and bend the elbows. And inhale, cobra pose. We point the toes, we lift the chest. And exhale, downward facing dog again. Now check in with yourself in your down dog. Look at the hands, make sure your hands are wide, they're not too narrow. We're giving ourselves space. Your fingers are spread. Press down through every finger pad. Press your heels towards the floor. And it's okay to bend your knees in down dog. Take a deep breath in, exhale. Now, as you inhale your breath, lift your right leg up high. Try not to lift the right hip higher than the left. So you just lift your right leg high, you keep your hips level. And then from here, bend your right knee and step your right foot as close as you could get it to your hands. So you might only get it about halfway up your mat. If that's the case, you can drop your back knee down and grab your foot and kind of put it more forward. Know that you can adjust. Lift your back knee up. We're gonna move into Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. So you can bring your back heel flat to the mat. Angle your back foot at 45 degrees. Bend into your front knee. Take a moment just to check in. Make sure that your front knee is directly over your front ankle. Instead of way in front, we wanna stack the joints. So one straight line from knee to ankle and ankle to knee. Look at your feet. Make sure you're not standing on what would be a tightrope, but that your feet are a little bit wide. So you're almost kind of like on train tracks. Even though your feet are long apart from one another, we've got that width, like the width of our hips that we're standing in. Now lunge deep, and then let's lift the chest and rise arms overhead, Warrior 1. Sink into your front knee, stretch up through your arms. Go ahead for a moment and just bring your hands to your hips. So, back foot's at 45 degrees. Start to press through the outer edge of your back foot because we have a tendency to kind of collapse into the arch. Back leg is straight. Bend your front knee as much as feels comfortable to you, and then square your shoulders to the front of your mat. So square your shoulders forward and bend into your front knee so you could start to feel a stretch through your left hip. Relax your toes if they're gripping the mat. And now reach up, arms overhead. So we're here, we're in our posture, our warrior. Just begin to connect to your power. Let the practice of power yoga help you find your power. Let it help you learn how to use your power. Lunge in a little deeper, stretch up, breathe into whatever sensations you're feeling. Take a deep breath in as you reach, maybe even look up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale your breath, Chaturanga, hands come down. Step your foot back. It's okay if you're a little behind. Drop the knees to the mat, bend the elbows a little bit, and straighten the arms, cobra pose, toes point, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up high. Let's move to the other side. So lift your left leg high, but keep your hips level. Step your left foot forward as close as you could get it. And if you didn't get it all the way there, drop your back knee down and you'll scoot your left foot forward until your left ankle is directly underneath your left knee. Make sure that your feet, your legs are about hip width distance apart. And then curl your back toes, lift your back knee up off the mat. Spin your back foot to about 45 degrees. So toes point a little bit forward. Keep your back leg strong and straight, bend into your front knee. And then from here, really press your feet down and come on up to Warrior One. Reach your arms over your head. Lunge into your front thigh. Go ahead and take your hands down to your hips for a moment. And let's get our alignment. So you can take a look at your back foot, make sure it's pointing a little bit forward. Keep your back leg straight, lunge into your front thigh, square your chest forward. So your right shoulder squares forward. Lift the chest a little and reach your arms high. Let's find our warrior. You're here, just breathe. And it's challenging to flow and move. It's just as challenging, if not more, to hold a posture for a long period of time. Connect to as much patience as you have right now in the moment. It's totally okay if you're getting impatient. It's okay to struggle. This practice will make you stronger. It will make you more flexible. It will help you to become more patient. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Chaturanga. Step your feet back. Drop your knees down. Bend the elbows. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Lift your hips high. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And child's pose again. Drop your knees down to the mat. Spread your knees wide. Lower your hips to your heels. Reach your arms forward and bow down. And just pause. Just pause and check in with your body. Take a few breaths. Take a moment just to be still, just to rest. It's really important to take care of your body and to nurture your body. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And then move forward, tabletop all fours, and downward facing dog. So now we're gonna flow through our Sun B. And that's gonna really help you to get very, very warm. So do the best that you can. It's okay to be a little bit behind. Just try to breathe and move. Inhale here. Exhale, look forward and either jump or step your feet to your hands. Feet together now. Inhale, halfway lift, so hands come to shin. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. So bend your knees, reach your arms up high, inhaling. Exhale, forward fold. Bow all the way down again, stretch it out. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthening out. And as you exhale, bring your hands to the yoga mat, step back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Knees drop, elbows bend. Inhale, Cobra pose. Lift your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg high as you inhale. Step forward as far as you can get as you exhale. Bring your back heel flat, and as you inhale, warrior one. Reach your arms overhead. And as you exhale, come right back down again, Chaturanga. We do a lot of these in this class. Knees drop, bend elbows a little. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step forward. Spin your back heel flat. Inhale, warrior one. Reach up and stretch. Exhale, Chaturanga. Hands come down. Step back. Knees drop. Bend elbows. Upward dog. Inhale your breath. Downward dog. Exhale and hold. Deep breath in. Long breath out. So you just made it through Sun Salutation A and B. From here, go ahead and hinge forward into your plank, into your push-up position. Drop your knees to the mat, bend your elbows, and lower all the way down to the floor. We're gonna do some postures here to strengthen and tone our back. Take your hands and bring them behind your back. Press your palms towards each other, point your toes. Now as you inhale your breath, lift your legs and lift your chest right up. Now, if you can't reach the opposite hand behind your back, no worries, just get as close as you possibly can. Keep your chest lifting, press your palms together, and lengthen. Feel the back getting strong, feel your legs getting strong, feel your breath. Hold. And slowly release down. Look right. So you can rest your head on your hands and look right. Just give yourself a rest. Just lying on the floor, looking right. Now just come into your breathing. See if you can control your breath and make it really deep. Just one inhale and one long exhale. And then from here, look forward again. Bring your arms long by your sides and your palms face the floor. Inhale, lift your chest and lift your legs and your arms right up off the mat. Look a little forward, but not way up towards the ceiling. Feel the back muscles strong. Spread your toes, lift. Now just take a breath here. This is so good for all the muscles on the back side of your body. You're strengthening those muscles, and simultaneously, you're stretching the muscles in the front of your body. Release, look left. And rest. And close your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths on your own. Deep breath in. Long breath out. And go ahead from here and bring your hands to the yoga mat. And press back. Downward facing dog again. Check in with your hands. Make sure your fingers are wide, your hands are wide, feet are hip width distance apart. From here, take a breath in. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. So you're just kind of walking yourself into a forward fold at the back of your mat. And then bend your knees and roll up to standing. And pull your shoulders back. From here, we're going to do a couple balancing postures. We'll start with dancer's pose. So take your right arm out to the side. So right arm comes out to the side almost like you're carrying a tray. Left toes point directly forward. Bend your right knee and then reach and grab the inside of your foot. Now, it's a common tendency to grab the outside by mistake, or to do this weird twisty thing with your hand where you grab the inside. Really important to make sure the eye of the elbow points out, and then reach for the arch of your foot. So if you bend your elbow behind your back, the elbow should point like an arrow towards the left side of the room. That's how you know you've got the right grip for this. Reach your left arm forward, just at eye level. And then from here, you'll just slowly start to kick your right leg up behind you, lengthening. And as you kick your leg up, you'll keep your hips, for the most part, square. Pick a spot to look at, so not the ground, but something kind of out beyond, and just kick. Kick up as high as you could go. And hold, it's okay to fall out. Breathe. And release. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Left arm out. Lower your arm. Bend your left knee and grab the inside. Test, make sure when you bend your elbow, it points like an arrow towards the right side of the room. Reach your right hand out and just start to kick your left leg up. So you're just lifting the leg, kicking into your hand. Play around with it. I remember the first time I took this pose. I remember that I didn't understand the kick and what that meant. And balance was hard on my right foot, but I practiced and practiced and practiced, and all of a sudden I found it. You just feel that power in your left leg, and you try to almost straighten your leg behind you into your hand. Reach your right arm forward, kick up, and then release. Bring your feet together, take your hands and bring them to your heart. Now there's a first time for everything, and everything takes practice. The more you practice this, the more you will refine it. The more your body will open, the better balance you will have, and the more flexible you will become. Have patience and have trust. Let's take tree pose, Vrikshasana. So you'll shift your weight into your left foot. Take your right foot up to the inside of the shin. Okay, you can start here. Especially as a beginner, this is a great place to start. If you want to play, you can take your right foot all the way up to the inside of the thigh. Okay, so you've got options. Take your hands and bring them to your heart. If balance is really challenging for you, another modification is to take your ankle, is to take your heel and just rest it on your left ankle. So know that there's many variations, many ways to modify this pose. Do the best that you can to stay balanced. Hands come to the heart. It helps to find a spot to look at, something that isn't moving, and just fix your eyes there. And you'll wobble, you'll sway, you'll fall. That's okay, that's all part of the process. Go ahead and release, right foot down. Let's take the other side. So you'll shift into your right foot. You'll take your left foot up, inside of the shin, below the knee, or inside of the thigh. One thing I'll mention is not to put the bottom of your foot on the inside of your knee. Either put it below or above your knee. Lift your chest. Press your foot into your leg. Keep your eyes fixed on one point, and that's going to help with your balance. Don't get frustrated if you fall. Watch your reactions. See if you can be at peace throughout. No matter what your body does, see if you can be at peace. And that's the power that power yoga gives you. And release, left foot down. Inhale, arms overhead. We're gonna flow again. Walk towards the top of your mat if you're not there already. And forward bend. Bow down, stretch out the back of your body. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins. Exhale, one more, Chaturanga. So we step back. We bend the knees to the mat. We bend the elbows. We point the toes and lift the chest for Cobra pose. And downward facing dog we go. Lift your hips up and breathe. Deep and full breaths. Take an inhale. Exhale it all. Drop your knees down to the mat. And come to seated. So any way you want to get there, just have a seat. We're going to move into a forward fold, a seated forward bend. So pull your feet in towards your body. Bend your knees. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Now, a lot of us have tight backs, especially as beginner yogis. It's really important to make sure that we have a curve in our lower back. So what we do to help find that curve is to take your hands and grab your thigh and rotate the inside of your thigh down. So it's like you're pulling the flesh of your butt out from underneath you. And you do that on both sides. If you're really tight, you can sit on a blanket or a towel. That's going to help tilt your hips a little bit, provide more of a curve through your low back, and help you to feel better in your forward bends until your back loosens. Lift nice and tall. Avoid rounding through the shoulders like this. Lift and then forward fold. Forward fold and breathe. So again, we want to, just for today, try not to round too much, but try to be long instead. Pull the shoulders back a little bit behind you instead of letting them come together in front of you, and lengthen. Close your eyes and just breathe so that you feel a deep stretch through your inner thighs, maybe through your hips. I'm just going to let you hold and kind of marinate in this pose for a few moments. Just feeling, breathing. You're always breathing. But when I remind you to breathe, I mean consciously breathe. Bring your awareness to your breath. Bring your mind to your breathing instead of your thoughts, so that you can be more present, so that you can be here and not somewhere else, so that your mind and your body can be in the same place. That's when you're the most powerful, when you're present. Go ahead and release. Come on up slow to seated. Pull your knees together. Scoot forward so that you're towards the front of your mat, and just roll yourself all the way down onto your back. And from here, we're going to take a spine twist. So bend your right knee into your chest and straighten your left leg straight out. Energize your left leg, flex your toes. So that just means pulling your toes towards your body instead of pointing. Take your left hand to the outside of your right knee, and then guide your right knee across your body towards the floor. It does not need to touch, just bring it close to the floor. Keep both shoulders down, especially the right one, and reach your right arm to the right, turn your head to the right, and look over your right hand. And this is your spine twist. We do this at the end of almost every power yoga class because it's a wonderful restorative posture. It helps to heal your spine. It helps to create range of motion in your spine and keep the range of motion that you already have. Let yourself just relax in this posture as much as possible. And release. Go ahead and come back to center and straighten your right leg out. Other side. Bend your left knee into your chest. Take your right hand to the outside of your left knee and guide your left knee across your body to or towards the floor on your right. Reach your left arm to the left and gaze over your hand. Keep your bottom leg straight and twist. You can bring your right knee as far to the right as you want it to go. Close your eyes and just breathe and just rest and begin to let go of tension. Letting your body start to come down a little bit, letting your heart rate come down, letting your body come into relaxation mode. And release, come back to center. Take both of your hands and grab right underneath your knees and just squeeze your knees into your chest. Pull tightly. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can kind of reach around and try to bring your forearms to your knees and reach for each opposite elbow. If not, just grab the knees with hands. Keep your head on the mat. And then release. And this is the best pose of all, Shavasana. Straighten your legs, one and then the other. Bring your arms by your side, nice and long, and just flip your hands. Start to deepen your breath. And begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Turn your head to the left, and then to the right. and then come back to center. You can roll onto your right or your left side, whichever feels more natural to you. Just come into the fetal position. You can rest your head on your hands, keep your eyes closed. Just a very nurturing position. And then bring your hands to the mat, to the floor, and use your arms to press yourself up to seated. Come into the same sitting position that you started in, either with legs crossed or sitting on your heels. Take your hands and bring them to your knees. Lift your chest. Close your eyes. We always end practice by saying namaste. And what namaste means is that the light, the inner light, and the teacher that's in me honors and bows to the inner light and the teacher that's in you, and that's in all things and all experiences. So take your hands and bring them together in front of your chest and heart, and take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bow forward. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I invite you to practice this class a few more times so that you can really build a strong and solid foundation in your alignment. And in the next class in the series, we're going to add some more postures and expand upon what we've already learned so that you can